Okay, it is 10:01 a.m. I have one trade with KNOS, and I was actually watching this one since the market opened, and it did remind me that this was something I don't know if I've traded it or not, but it's definitely something I've seen a long time ago when it had these two run-ups. And I was watching it today since the market opened because it had news, positive news, and it was up. It was like a gap up. So once it opened, I wanted to see if it was going to break above this 125 level, and it was. And what happened was is that it uptrended too quickly. I was interested in buying, I think 15,000 shares, and that would have been super profitable. But let's not talk about it too much since I didn't trade it. But it's nice to see a break above the morning range. Setup right here still continues to work. I did try a buy at 944 because I was interested in this for a bull flag setup, and not just a bull flag setup, but a dip under VWAP. And I thought it could do something where it has this nice volatile run up and then it downtrends, holds around VWAP, and then it could be a bull flag, a dip under VWAP, and then it uptrends, and it did do it a bit later. Not necessarily when I got in at 944. I had a very high entry. I think I could have done better perhaps. I was in right here with 5,000 shares at 174, and I did lower my size from what I initially wanted to trade with this first setup because of the fact that it just really moves very quickly, and it seems to trade like a low float. I think it might actually be a low float, but for that reason, I wasn't, going to trade a large size in case it really fails. And I think my risk level was going to be VWAP and worst case scenario, this level right here if it breaks under it. But I figured that if it were to break under it, that would be super bearish, and then that could be like a free fall. So that was a bit too much for me to consider. I didn't, like how after I entered, you can see the volume here. Right after I entered, the volume just dried up and it just traded super sketchy. And it did close multiple times under VWAP. And then once we had this move right here, I did get out at 948 at 161. I just really wasn't happy with it. It did uptrend later, but as you can see, even right now, the bid is at 175. I could have had maybe a better entry at like 165, and then would have been like a scratch right here, would have been a bigger percent loss. I think like 7%, but that's fine. It's just the way this one trades. And it didn't really uptrend very easily. It just kept hitting the ask. The bid would not really change from its position. It would just be like maybe 171 at the bid. And then if a red print goes, it's like at 18, and the ask is at 19. So that's how I would trade. It did in theory work. I just wish I can stop being on the right track and lose money. I'd rather just lose money and be on the wrong track than to be on the right track and lose money. But it was a good attempt here. There isn't really anything else that I'm interested in, but I'll make an update later if I see something. Okay, it is 11:59 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, it was just one trade, and the setup did work with KNOS. In theory, I could have had a better entry. Maybe not on the wick right here, but I don't know. Maybe perhaps I just had to be more patient with stocks that have a dip under VWAP, and I don't know. Maybe not just assume that after the sell-off is going to immediately just after, a couple candles, just make the bottom and then bounce back immediately. I like how it eventually did make a move above VWAP, and it did get to the 19 level. It didn't get much higher, but that was still a 15% move from better entry, which would have maybe have been I guess 165 could have been something realistic, and that would have been a scratch. And then, yeah, it's pretty scary, but I just don't think I would have liked risking this because that is too much of a spread. Maybe the bottom of the candle, perhaps, right? And then it did try to break under it, but it didn't do it. Yeah, I just kind of got annoyed with the setup, but hey, at least I was on the right track, I guess. But ideally, I can be profitable from it. Best case scenario would have been at 19, and that would have been, yeah, 15% gain. So yeah, that was the situation with that, and it seems like I needed to have had more shares, but again, I wasn't too happy with the way this one traded in general with a really, widespread and everything, and that was pretty much it. I do have a long position with Rivian, 100 shares on Fidelity, and 100 shares on my Charles Schwab account, and it is going to be a swing trade. It could totally fail, but I like how I had a sell off right here, kind of wiped out a lot of maybe stop losses, and I do like how, we had a bottom here and then we had a bit of a higher low right here off of this level, and it looks like a change in momentum ideally. It could totally fail, worst case scenario, bad news, and it opens below the 16 level, and it will immediately cut because I am considering a stop at any price action under the $16 level. So yeah, let's see if this thing can try to reverse. If there's a lot of shorts involved, they might be squeezed and cause a short squeeze. Maybe not necessarily, a reversal setup because it's done downtrending, but maybe it could just be a bunch of short sellers. Obviously, this setup can fail. Obviously, this is a swing trade, which isn't something I do too much, but I've been kind of losing it with day trading. Just really annoyed because I do end up on the right track with a lot of setups, but I don't make money off of it. And it just kind of, just really annoys me. It just seems like it won't go away, that bad streak, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will have that position with Rivian. Ideally, it doesn't do anything dumb pre-market tomorrow. And yeah, I'll be watching to see if it can make a move towards the upside.